Good tidings, friends. This is Gokai Spartan. It's been a while since I did one of these discussion videos. I recently been going through some things in real life, you know. I had like dental surgery, so that's why I haven't even been able to voice act as much as I wanted to. And I haven't really been able to make the discussion videos or just videos where I'm just sitting down talking. So right now, I more or less just want to talk about Power Rangers Altered Universe, Power Rangers in general, probably talk a little bit about some of the other franchises involved in the fan project as well. I've been doing this for over a year, and this is an ongoing project. More or less, I had the basis for this plan like in 2009 and even before that, because I've been telling stories my entire life. And I started off with a story called Naruto of the Flawless Military, where Naruto was the main character, and Rogexio, Dexter, and the other characters, they existed, but it was basically a rough design of what I have now. It was actually entirely different because Organization 13 was still bad guys in that story, but in this one they're more or less heroes. There's a lot of like villains that are heroes in the the Flawless Military. There's a lot of villains that are heroes inside the Flawless Military, more or less because I've always thought it interesting for like characters to have certain redemption arcs, but at the same time I always thought it interesting to keep certain villains completely evil and the same. Reason why is because we got the best Ranger of all time when it came to Tommy, when it came to him being the Green Ranger, and like it was amazing. And like, and even with the Psycho Rangers, they just stayed evil. I mean, in the comic books they turned them good, which I just I didn't. For the Psycho Rangers, I prefer them to just stay bad guys. So it's different because like I have human villains. I can see having a redemption arc, but aliens that just want to destroy everything, that are programmed to eliminate everything, just keep them evil. Just keep them evil and just don't redeem them. So more or less, so I have certain characters in the Galactic Crash House like Madara, Littlefinger, and Xemnas. I would say those are Rogexio's main three horsemen, because the seven is essential. The main seven, because there's like a hierarchy in the Galactic Crash House, kind of. It's unspoken, but it's there. There's the seven, which consists of Rogexio, Madara, Dexter, Beatrice, Xion, Xemnas, and Littlefinger. Basically, the reason why is because when they went to Westeros and they conquered Westeros and basically changed it, more or less, a lot of people in Westeros depicted them as the Faith of the Seven, so they kind of took the titles as well. But then I had the Small Council, which consisted of even more, which was 15 of them. The thing is, the Flawless Military is a huge organization. It's really hard to balance that many characters. I try my best to, and I'm just going to keep doing it because if you really think about it, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was created. We created this on a whim. Like, they had Zyuranger to go off of, but as the story kept going on, they just kept on creating new stories and new opponents and things for them to do. I'm kind of doing the same thing in a sense. Whereas with well, I guess I'll get to the characters specifically. I'll start with the Star Force Rangers, because the Star Force Rangers is basically like the junior version of the Flawless Military, essentially. There's other teams under the Flawless Military that I still need to develop, and I'm still like trying to get people to become Power Rangers as well. So if y'all still interested in being a part of it, just let me know what y'all want to see. Let me know what teams y'all want to be a part of, because I do want to flesh out the Flawless Military Power Rangers and make different teams for them, because there's a lot of power sets to be had. For instance, even the Megaforce Rangers, they need a yellow, a green, a black, and a pink Ranger. So more or less, it's like I have a lot of Rangers to fill out, but I have a lot of characters that I'm already working with. So the roster's stacked, but I'm not opposed to making the roster, like, it could be 1 million characters for all I care. Like, I plan on covering everything. And that goes double when you think of the Kamen Riders too, because in the Christmas episode, there was a various amount of Kamen Riders there that got the powers. I know a couple of them was Bankotsu from Inuyasha, Eric Northman, Yoshimitsu, Mario. So there's Kamen Rider copies of the original Kamen Riders, but at the same time there's new Kamen Riders, since the cave got just like, he didn't get destroyed, but his powers is basically scattered, and since it's a new universe, it created like a whole new writer. So Meteor is coming back from the universe of the Kamen Riders to deal with Tatsugami, because Tatsugami, Leo, was the one who kind of helped bring the crash out switches to fruition. It was a combined effort of Tatsugami, Scrazzle before he was killed by Madoko under Kyburn's orders, and various other evil scientists that made these crash out switches, which eventually got dispersed out to certain individuals. Hikagen and Madoko, they're aliens. They're not results of the crash out switches. They're literally from the planet Cthulhu. which exists because Rogexio killed Poseidon many, many eons ago, and she scattered his remains into space, and that created a whole alien planet, an alien race of half peaceful, half warlike individuals, where not all of the Cthulhuans are like Ikagen and Madoko. Some of them are kind of like Inkworth. Well, before Inkworth became more of a crash out, some of them were just living their lives and stuff. They had their own kingdom. Frieza's people wiped them out because that's what Frieza does. Dragon Ball Z is a part of this universe, very small part of it, because like the power scaling is already crazy, but the Dragon Ball characters do have a relevancy in the story somewhat as well. So Frieza's people, you know, they were going around eradicating people trying to build the Frieza Force, and they destroyed that planet, but it was a regenerating planet. So half of the Cthulhuans was that regenerated fact that came back, like Ikagen, Madoko, and Poseidon. The thing about Poseidon is he's still incredibly weak. He's strong, but he's weak, like, due to everything that happened to him, because when Rogexio beat up the Greek gods back in the day, she more or less placed like certain curses on him. That's why Poseidon needed Qyburn to give him a new mechanical body. More or less, Poseidon's incredibly proud of Ikagen because Ikagen's causing chaos. He's basically doing everything that Poseidon wish he could do essentially right now, because Poseidon is really mad because, you know, he did what he did, but he's the god of the ocean. He feels like he should be able to do that. He didn't think there was going to be another god that was going to come and take him out. And like he's mad. He wants to focus more on the military than the Power Rangers, where Athena just wants to destroy everything. Athena is a bona fide crash out in every sense of the word. I don't know who's worse, Ikagen, Athena, or Madoko, or Mavis, because all of them are terrible. But I think out of all of them, for Mavis, I think when it comes down to it, her and her sisters really need to have that talk. They need to get into it, because Mavis is wildin'. Mavis kind of remind me of Nicki Minaj talking to Trump a little bit. How she's like, Nicki just betrayed, like we all were Nicki fans, but now I can barely listen to a Nicki Minaj soundtrack after that moment, because it just, I'm like, yeah, but the point is, but Athena's 100 times worse than Mavis, because Mavis is mad that she got her crown taken away from Rogexio. But the truth is, Mavis was a very passive, ineffective ruler that kind of let the world dwindle into what it is now. Basically, I modeled Mavis' rule after the world that we actually live in, like our world, because like the world we live in is literally like at war as we speak. There's a lot going on right now, and like I figured, like if Rogexio was here, none of this would be happening. All of this would have been solved in like 3 days. But under Mavis's directive, all of this is exactly what would happen. But basically, in that world, she basically didn't answer prayer. She didn't do what a god was supposed to do as far as Rogexio is concerned. So she took the crown from her, and she decided to at least try to do a better job. So, but the thing is, she didn't kill or destroy Mavis. More or less, she placed Mavis still within rank, because they still love each other. So she ultimately wanted the best for her sisters. And Brandon Stark ruined all that, because Brandon Stark's extra petty, because the Three-Eyed Raven was supposed to be the king. I maneuvered everything in the Game of Thrones so I can become king, and why do you think I came all this way? Nah, I don't think so. None of us like that ending. I really didn't. I hated the ending of season 8. That's why every ending that I dislike is altered in this universe, hence the phrase altered universe. So Brandon Stark, you don't get to have your happy ending. The rest of them maybe. The Starks, yeah, they get to come back, but even the Lannisters get to come back. But you took everything from me, man. It could have been anybody to sit that Iron Throne. They could have gave it to Daenerys. Daenerys could have not burnt the city to the ground. They could have gave it to Jon. It was his by right and blood, whether he wanted it or not. Hell, they could have just gave it to Varys, or Davos, or Tyrion. There was mad people that they could have gave it to my boy Pimp Hand Lord Baelish. And they did him dirty. I ain't like the way he died either. That's ultimately why, like I said, you know what, I'm going to say Westeros, but the ironic savior is going to be Littlefinger, because it'll be the last person. Everybody expects Daenerys to be the savior. Everybody expects it to be Jon. Everybody expects it to be Arya. Everybody expected Jon to kill the Night King. Arya subverted those expectations. Let's take that a step further and make Littlefinger and Varys, both of them, simultaneously the saviors of Westeros, because they actually were brought back by Rogexio and Mavis for things that had nothing to do with Westeros, because they have history and timelines with them in the Odysseus and Rogexio's Odyssey, which is another story I'm going to tell, because most of the people in Game of Thrones have past lives in the Odyssey. For instance, Jon Snow is actually Odysseus in the past life. Daenerys would be Penelope. Catelyn would be Patroclus' wife, which Patroclus is Littlefinger in this universe. There's something that happens to him that ruins why he will never be with Catelyn or Sansa in another relationship. Same thing with Varys and him being a eunuch. I have a whole other storyline planned for these characters and whole other memories in another universe. So Rogexio brought them back because Patroclus and Varicus were the ones who told her to leave the island, because Medusa didn't come to Calypso's birthday, because Medusa always came and told Medusa before Athena turned Medusa into a serpentine. Medusa and Calypso were friends. Calypso couldn't leave the island. She was forbidden to leave the island. Zeus said she was forbidden to leave the island. She thought she couldn't leave, but the truth is Calypso could leave because she was always strong enough to leave. In the Book of Prophecies, everything that's going on right now in the Flo's military is written in the Book of Prophecies. There's only a couple of people that know about that book, and he's even read it. Rogexio read the book. Mavis read it. Zigbar read it. I'm gonna get to Zigbar in a second, because Zigbar is where things get really juicy and interesting. But Zigbar read it. Of course, the Master read it, because the Master of Masters. But they also read, and also Littlefinger actually took a peep in it. He didn't read it too long. He just read it just enough to know where he stood in the universe, and he was incredibly satisfied. So he just closed the book. He felt like he didn't even need to know no more. Varys didn't read it, and Varys is actually mad at Littlefinger for reading the book. Let me see. Those are the only people. Let's see. Which Power Ranger people read that Book of Prophecy? Because, like I said, in this universe, I'm a Power Ranger fan, but I'm also a fan of everything else. So I gotta balance Power Rangers with Kingdom Hearts, with Game of Thrones, with Naruto, with Yu-Gi-Oh, with Digimon and Pokemon, which I want to get back to my Digimon story, but I don't feel like a lot of people are really jacking that one too much. But I'll probably get back to it again eventually. But basically, when it comes to Rogexio and Medusa, she was supposed to come to the island. She didn't come, and Rogexio got really concerned, and she didn't want to leave the island because she was scared of Zeus. But Patroclus and Varicus just told her that they could just leave the island and stuff like that. The truth about Patroclus and Varicus, they were like the modern versions of what an atheist would be in that timeline. Like, yes, the gods were real and stuff like that, but they didn't believe that they were perfect, and they didn't believe that they deserved to be on top. In fact, they believed in Calypso. They believed their goddess to be the top, so that's why they told her to leave the island and stuff like that. Because if these are derivatives of Littlefinger and Varys, they would still behave like Littlefinger and Varys. In a timeline where Littlefinger is slightly more just, but still has Littlefingerisms, and same thing would go for Varys. They wouldn't want to be confined. They want to be able to be the ones to make the rules themselves. So they kind of told Calypso, hey, you should probably leave this island and at least just see what's going on with Medusa. It wasn't like them Calypso taking over Olympus. That was like the ultimate plan, but they just needed to get her off the island. So her getting to Medusa to get off the island, and once she got there, she got turned into stone. But it only worked for like a couple of minutes. Like after a while, Calypso's abilities kicked in, because she basically has like a mimicry ability. She's like super adaptable. Like I was thinking about the Timmy Jimmy Power Hour when they made I forgot the villain's name, but they said they wanted him to be adoptable, so like he could like be into another family in case they wanted to ban him. But they accidentally made him adaptable. And they made him like super adaptable and stuff like that. And he got rid of Jimmy's brain, and he got rid of Jimmy's fairies and stuff like. Nah, if you haven't seen the Timmy Power Hour, go watch it. It is one of the best pieces of fiction ever, son. But yeah, basically she has ability to adapt. She can basically adapt to anything that's thrown at her, or if she has recollection of it, she can mimic it. It's an ability based on the First Light, which other people have fractions of the First Light. I'll get to that in a second. But she goes and she sees Medusa. And by the time she's not stone anymore, Medusa's already gone. She's already roaming the earth, being Medusa, doing Medusa things, turning people into stone by accident and on purpose. And now Calypso's sad. Her friend got transformed into a monster, and she knows why, because magic, like she could tell by the magical essence that it was Athena's doing, and she could also tell that Poseidon's been there because she could smell him in that area. She could smell, like the sisters have like this heightened sense of, they have all of their senses are heightened. So like Rihanna says in one of the episodes that she even has it, and even Rogexio could hear when Monero was hungry and stuff like that. But so she knew that it had something to do with Poseidon, and it had something to do with Athena. She ended up finding out. Because she actually ended up asking Athena what happened, and Athena told her verbatim that she did that. And she told him that it was because Medusa defied my temple, and anyone who defies my temple must be cursed. It's written in the ancient god book and things like that. And Calypso was not having that. Calypso transformed Athena into a rat. And she was a rat for thousands of years. Until the crash out switches was invented, when Tatsugami came, and then Squazzle and helped invent crash out switches. Squazzle, Madoko's actually a scientist too. Like, yeah, I know she's ratchet and shit like that, but this is gonna be a very long video, guys. So yeah, I'm gonna get to the galactic crash outs and all of them as well. but I just want to like at least tell the story at first. So for Athena, she was on 42nd Street in the train station. She was a rat. By this time, she's barely remembers she's Athena. Like, she remembers a time where things were different, but she's been a rat so long that that's just what she is. And she sees this switch in the train station, and she presses the switch, and it transforms her into Virgo Zodiacs. The Zodiac switches, the Crash House switches, basically cover more monsters in the Zodiacs because it just brings out the monsters, but the Zodiac switches are basically what the Crash House switches come from. So that's the switch that Athena found. And that's why, and now she wants to get back at Calypso because she was a rat, and now Calypso is still around. The rest of the Greek gods have been deposed and stuff like that. Other gods in Pantheon still remain because Calypso kind of respects domains. Like, she doesn't interfere in every god's domain. Like, just so long as hers, it's like hers is a slow expansion, but she doesn't want to conquer everything through brute force. Like, she prefer to negotiate. But more or less, now Athena wants to get rid of everything Calypso stands for. Now, when it comes, now that we spoke on Athena, we're going to get to Hikage and Madoka because I mentioned them as well. They are basically, like I said, their planet was destroyed by Frieza's ancestors. But instead of getting back at Frieza, they kind of just Crash House because they were just. But by the time when the planet was destroyed, they were very immature and childish. They were in their teenage years, and they were already off world when this shit happened. And they were already killing and slaughtering many fucking people. That's just what they get off on because Hikage and Madoka got this weird thing. This is before they were even getting paid for it. They're just destructive as a whole. My reason for making them like this is Q Ranger because Q Ranger hit me with this beautiful sentence. This is Hikage. It's Joe Longbow, the Purple Ranger. The Dragon Purple Ranger said this about Hikage and Madoka. This is Hikage and this is Madoka. They have killed billions and trillions of people and destroyed thousands of planets. If you see them, run away. And 6 episodes, they used this one interfering God in the Q Rangers, and it just made me fall in love with them. And then Cosmic Fury came out, and then I was mad because what they did to my boy, they massacred him with Inkworth. So I did everything in my power to make Hikage the most dastardly threat ever. And then I grew a soft spot for Inkworth, so I brought him back too. But that's basically, like, in fact, Hikage is basically the main reason why this channel and I'm able to even do the videos I am, because I didn't know much about like making my own fight scenes and stuff like that. I was actually going to just redub Q Ranger and just do like a version of that. But when I tried it the first time, I had issues with it. It said like super copyright, it was in the red. And I just didn't make the episode. I uploaded it. I just made an entirely different episode with new footage that I made with the AI and stuff, because like I didn't like, I noticed that I could redub it now because I've seen other people do it. Like there's another Star Force people that they redubbed it, but I'd rather make, but I like what I do more than just having to redub an episode of Power Rangers. I'd rather create an organic episode of Power Rangers from scratch than go and just redub Sentai. Because honestly, I like the way the Spanish Star Force people do it. There's another Power Ranger Star Force. It's in Spanish, and you have to watch it in Spanish because now they be auto dubbing. So, like, if something is created in a different language, they'll put the AI voices on there. And I don't like when they do it. Not that I don't like AI voices, but when I do my AI voices, I make sure I know which voice I'm placing there, and it at least somewhat adds up with what the character is and stuff like that. And I just don't like the genericness of it. Like, I try my best to make my videos as authentic as possible. That's why I voice most of the villains. Like, I'm gonna give you a list of villains. Like, I'm just gonna go through a monologue of just me doing voices right now, just to show you that I'm the one doing most of these characters. I am Hikage, the Power Ranger Grim Reaper, the Ogre of Destruction, and you Rangers are nothing! Pray to whatever god you believe in! Ouroboros Destructo Cannon. Looks like you Afghanians are out of luck. I can smell it in you, boy. The smell of fear. And you know what they say about fear. Fear only creates prey. Savage Slash Deathclaw. Darkand is my name and evil's my game. After 10,000 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer Earth. Rita, how must I eliminate them, my Empress? My Empress, I'm sorry. The Lannisters, they got me. And now the rains reap down his holes with not a soul to hear. Yeah, that's just a couple of voices that I could do. I could do a lot. It's just that, like I said, I had dental surgery. I'm still recovering. It's long, and more or less, I'm trying my best with the voices. But there's a lot of characters that I have done AIs for. But there's a lot of new voices that I made, like Pudgy Pig. You want a dragon, don't you? Like I was able to add the Pudgy Pig's voice and stuff like that. But more or less, back to Ikage and Madoka. These two dastardly squid duos, they are basically the antithesis of this universe. But they, like, out of all of the villains, they are the most hated and the most feared. You would think it would be Athena. She could turn people into stone. You would think it could be Golden Lord. He's wiped out countless galaxies. You would think it would be Mavis, as much as she tries her hardest, but no, it's actually Ikage and Madoka. This squid demon that's damn near fucking unstoppable. How are they gonna kill him? Who's going to kill him? Will it be the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Will it be the Star Force Rangers? Could it be the Space Rangers? Or the Gokaigas? Or Rogexio or the Flawless Military? Who knows? I don't even know yet. And that's how I like it, because when Kishimoto made Madara, he said, I don't know how I'm going to kill him, and then he made Kaguya. I'm going to try my best to not Kaguya this situation, guys, but yeah, Ikage, he is basically a problem. He likes to get paid for what he's done, because he's been killing and murdering for so long that now he wants to make a living out of it. Because if you do what you love, because Ikage goes by two conflicting pathologies. You'll do what you love for free, but if you're really good at it, you'll get paid for it. That's why there's two versions of Ikage. There's Power Rangers Alternate Universe, where he's getting paid lovely to blow everything the fuck up. And then there's Power Rangers Shattered Grid Redux, where he's not really getting paid. He's just kind of an overlord there alongside tracking. But ultimately, it's the same course of action. Whether he gets money or not, everything's going to get blown to smithereens, because he's literally a creature of hatred and darkness. Another reason why Ikage is so fucking terrible is because one of the 13 primordial darknesses from Kingdom Hearts has inhabited his body. Him and Mavis and Draken and Necrosis so far. There will be others, but those were the ones that they decided to inhabit. For Ikage, it's just his sheer level of just destructive tendencies. Madoka might even be infected as well. But yeah, Athena is not, though. Athena is just terrible on her own. She doesn't need a darkness to be terrible. And to be honest, Ikage doesn't need it either. The shit just is really attracted to him. It's like kind of how like Samehada found Killer Bee's chakra really attractive. That's how the darkness feels with Ikage. Draken too. Because Ikage and Draken are both equal levels of terrible. They both destroyed the Power Rangers. They both conquered. They both destroyed the Power Rangers in both their respective canons. And that's why they're friends. That's why they don't oppose each other, because it's just real recognized as real. Whether that's going to continue to be a thing or not remains to be seen, because villains' nature, they usually just sneak each other to begin with. But the Galactic Crash House usually got the unity thing, but that shit is slowly breaking, because certain plans are failing and certain people are taking the fall for it. Like Xehanort, for instance. Like, Ikage is not pleased with Master Xehanort. He snuffed him, and he was about to eradicate Ansem. Mainly because Brandon Stark was in the corner gaslighting him, and gaslighting them all to argue, because Brandon Stark wants to destroy this entire universe. It's not just Rogexio. That's why he started whispering in the Galactic Crash House, because he wants out. He wants to get back to his world and going back to where Daenerys was burning things to the ground so he could be king. He wants that story. He wants that timeline specifically. So he was using his will with powers to go inside the Galactic Crash House heads, and it was mostly working, because most of them are crash outs and most of them are angry, and most of them think negative shit all the time. So the shit that Brand was saying wasn't different from shit that they usually be thinking about, except Athena. Because the difference between the rest of them and Athena is the goddess of wisdom. Crash out or no, that's her domain. Mental intrusion does not work on her. In fact, she can just nullify that entirely. So telepaths, they're basically, it's hunting season for them right now. Because Athena was just going to take out all of her frustration on Lucky Vaughn. She really was. She was going to do that because she kind of scared of Rogexio, because Calypso's scary. But she was going to take out her frustration on her, but she wanted to gain power and stuff like that. There's a whole process to get to Calypso. But now she just really doesn't want to freaking people being in her brain telling her what the fuck to do. Because now she's wondering, did I kill all those people because I wanted to, or did I kill all those people because this nigga in the wheelchair told me to do it? And that thought process is fucking with her more than her being a rat ever fucking did. And she doesn't want anyone to ever be able to do that shit to her again. So anybody that has any type of mental telepathic powers, yeah, they're coming for them now. Their direction is completely shifted, and Athena let them all know. She put Brandon Stark. She put House Stark on. Oh my God, I feel bad for the Starks, bro. I feel bad for House Stark right now, bro. You think they had it bad in Game of Thrones? Oh my God. Oh no, bro. Brandon Stark just fucked his entire family over. Little did he know, because Athena just said, "Hey, everybody, I know we've been having fun, killing everybody, getting this paper, getting this money, destroying galaxies, conquering shit, making sure the Power Rangers don't do things, inconveniencing Calypso at all costs. But there was a little nigga telling us to do some of that shit. And Madoka would probably say some shit like this. Oh, word? I mean, I was just gonna kill niggas anyway. What the fuck was that? That was just kind of fucking productive. And then motherfucking Scorpion would probably say some shit like, this cannot happen. They are intruders. Like, he'd be really, really mad about that shit. He'd be really, really mad about that shit. Draken would probably have his 2 cents about this and be like, if they could get into our minds, then why are we even targeting the Power Rangers? Let's get rid of those telepaths first. They can manipulate us. Well, I don't like that. Like they really won't like me. Like, all of the Crash House would, and Astronomer, she'd be like, oh, so she's the reason why I was jealous of Calypso. I wasn't even thinking about that bitch. And then I just started getting mad. And then I died. I died because of that little nigga. Nah, kill him! I already did that. Oh, good looks, Athena. The Kagen, what do you have to say about this shit? You've been incredibly quiet. I don't care. I was gonna do this shit anyway. They're all gonna fucking die. Whether it be my own faculties or not, the engine still continues! And that's how I honestly feel about my project. Regardless of anything, the engine still continues. I plan on doing this shit and making this story for a long haul. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had about 100 episodes. I don't even know what episode we're on right now, because right now it's ranked at 30, but I had episodes prior to that I didn't correctly categorize. So we're more or less like in the 40 episodes, guys. It's been a whole season of Power Rangers Ultimate Universe. That's why they got the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and various other teams are getting super upgrades now. Because we're fighting villains that are Dragon Ball level. Like, the Galactic Crash Outs, they're basically a bunch of fucking Freezers and Cells and Boos. Like, all of them. Like Void Queen, she's a Freezer. Kagen, Madoka, they're just a bunch of evil Cells or Majin Boos. You kill them, they just come back stronger with a Zenkai boost and an even nastier fucking attitude. Inkworth is now added to that category. Trillionaire and Bajillionaire, oh yes. Those pictures that you're seeing, yeah, Bajillionaire's not dead. Itachi thought he got rid of her. But the truth is, with Cthulhuans, you can take off a tentacle of them, and if they were to die, that tentacle would just become the new Cthulhu. So what if Bajillionaire wasn't single? What if Bajillionaire had a husband called Trillionaire? And he was just as evil, snobby, and rich as them. And what if the whole Squid Inc. wanted to make a comeback against the Power Rangers Super Cosmic Fury? Because I gotta give everybody some smoke. Because there's a lot of villains. So everybody need to fight somebody. So, and Inkworth is already, don't fuck with the Cosmic Fury Rangers. He already said he was gonna fuck them niggas up. So, bringing Bajillionaire back, and the dynamic between her and Inkworth will be different because Bajillionaire is used to talking over Inkworth and treating him like he's nothing. And this version of Inkworth is different. This is a version of Inkworth that has been bullied, that is not a bull, that he's not pushing no more. Like he'll kill you. Like he even said it to his brother. Like he was willing to fight Hikagen, and Hikagen respects him now. So that's why Hikagen, they be chilling. Like he's like, nah, that's my little brother. The truth is, Hikagen always loved Inkworth. The thing is just that Inkworth was so soft and so craven. It's just, he hated that about him. But now Inkworth is starting to come into his own, and Hikagen is bringing a tear to his eye, bro. He loving that shit. Like, damn, bro. But nah, son. But yeah, that's what those characters more or less. But let's get to some more. I know y'all probably waiting for me to talk about the Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin and stuff like that, and their inclusion in the story. Got a lot. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Power Rangers in general, got a lot of foes that they got to deal with. And with these super upgrades, they can actually separate and deal with different threats at once. So right now, several of the ops are on the board. Rita and Queen Machina are both in the Shinobi lands. The Zeo Rangers, all of them are back, save for Catherine. The Catherine plot still needs to be resolved. Eventually, Catherine will return and the Super Zeo team will be accessed, but they can't access the Super Zeo powers until Catherine's there. So the Super Mighty Morphin powers is what they have now. So the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers may be showing up to fight at least Rita and Queen Machina, or Lord Zed and the Shadowline Express, because there's Lord Zed, Byron Nero, Cornelius, and Void Queen, and Magnum Medium. I might change Magnum Medium's name and Baron Nero's. I might give them a cooler name or something like that. But those Lord Zed's forces are still out there, and he said he specifically wants to mess with the Power Rangers, and he's probably been doing that. He's more or less going to either send monsters, send the general. Something's going to happen with Lord Zed. But I really want to cover other teams. Like, I want to get to the ninja stuff, bro, because Ninja Storm, Pop Shane is back. Shane is back. So the entire Ninja Storm team is back. And I really want to do something with Samurai because there's a lot that could be done with the Samurai Rangers, bro. Because I'm going to be honest, out of the Neo Saban Rangers, I feel like the Samurai Rangers are the most fleshed out ones. My story aside, because in the comic book, Lauren Sheba, she's part of the Prime Dimension. She got a thing with Jason. I might make that, I don't know how to organically make that a thing. I mean, people are older now. I'm not even gonna go that route with Lauren and Jason. Maybe in Shattered Grid Redux I'll go that route, but in Altered, I don't know what I want to do as far as relationships when it comes to the Power Rangers and stuff like that. When it comes, because it's because Tommy's supposed to be with Catherine, but then now the letter, Kimberly didn't write that letter, so now she wants to find out who wrote the letter. And how will Tommy feel once he finds out that Kim never even wrote a letter, that someone else did? And it was more than likely somebody evil. Who could it be? Could be anybody. Who wrote the letter? I don't know. I do know. But that'll be a secret for another day. And Billy, he's been working with Dexa and Beatrice. There's going to be a couple of flashback scenes because I do my flashbacks to more or less flesh out the story lines and stuff like that, because there's things that happen off screen and just things that I also want to redo. See, like just like with the Power Rangers and just like the Megaforce Ranger fight, I really wanted to redo that because, you know, AI is a little bit better now. So I wanted, and there's a lot of scenes that I wanted to redo. Like I've done the Rogexio versus Zimnis fight 2 times already. I don't think I need to do it a third. There's probably a couple of fights that I want to visit again, just with new updated, like, you know, graphics and features and stuff like that, new voices and things. Like probably the first fight with the Star Force Rangers, I might want to visit that one. Maybe the fight with the Cosmic Fury Rangers, the first couple, the couple of times that Ikage went to go fight them. You might want to revisit some of the old the Westerosi wars that happened. Now we can talk about the Star Force Rangers. Now that I'm thinking about them, I just mentioned the Westerosi wars, and last we checked with the Star Force Rangers, they are currently in the Island of Illusions, due to the fact that Athena sent them there because she wants them to be destroyed by their fears. And the truth is, she wants to take their star power, because if they lose their duel, she can absorb them. Because Loco will gain that power, and then Athena will destroy Loco and then take its power for his own. Because the star power is his powers of the first light, and Athena wants to gain more power from that light, so she can one day fight and destroy Calypso. And Terranort was one of the first people to fall on this island, due to the fact that Terranort is a human. He's a combination of Xehanort and Terra, but he's a version of Xehanort and Terra that kind of is given his free will. Rogexio went to the Xehanorts, and basically when she took over the Flawless Military, she did it in a way where she kind of gave them their own choices and stuff. She tries to be as fair as fucking possible. Like, she'll beat the shit out of you and then cook for you afterwards. That's the type of person Rogexio is. So, like, when it came to, like, Xemnas needs to find meaning. He ultimately found that with Rogexio's sister. He is in love with her. Xemnas he has never verbalized how he feels about her, but he loves Rihanna, and that's why he's always there on that planet, and he just loves nature. He's actually a changed man because, like, you know, he realized that he was trying to obliterate everything. Like, you know, like, my depiction for Xemnas, it is actually modeling off of me just watching birds. Like, when I sit down and I just watch animals be animals, I just think about life and nature and the fact that we're literally a speck of dust in a universe with thousands of stars and stuff. And, you know, I just think of all the wonders in the cosmos when I'm literally watching animals be animals. And I would think that would be no different for the superior of the in-between. And now that he's like that, things have changed with him and the rest of the members of the Flawless Military. Because now that Xemnas actually has a personality and he's actually trying to be decent, him and Xion are really good friends. She calls him Zem now. Like, Xion and the Organization 13, they're all cool with each other, except for Xigbar. Xigbar is a detractor due to the fact that in episode 1, he was dating Rogexio, but Madara showed up, and then her and Madara slowly started to gravitate towards each other, and it kind of left Xigbar in Schitt's Creek a little bit. So he ultimately was trying to still be on the organization side, but the truth is, Bran Stark got to his ass too. Brandon got to him, and he didn't even know it was Bran. He thought it was himself, and he's like, Bran is wildin', bro. But another thing about Xigbar is he created Rogexio basically to be even stronger than what she was supposed to be, because she was a goddess able to take over pantheons. But Xigbar read that if he could turn a god into a nobody, and then that nobody can become God once again, then it will be able to fight the Great Darknesses. And the Great Darknesses is eventually what they were trying to destroy in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. There's 13 of them. I think they killed like 6 of them. There's still 13 of them in my story because I like big numbers. So, yeah. Basically, he wants to destroy the big Great Darkness once and for all. Hence why he's actually talking to Mavis. Because you think that he would side with Mavis, like, truth is, nobody knows exactly what Xigbar is doing, not even the author. The reason why is because I haven't touched on this character in a while, because when I wrote this story, him and Rogexiel was supposed to be a couple. They were supposed to be lovers. They're supposed to have children. Madara was supposed to come down there a little bit later, and then they were supposed to be a love triangle there. The whole storyline was supposed to always be a thing. That was supposed to always happen. However, I created this story in 2009. Before Madara even came out the casket. Before we even knew what 8 Gates really was. And before we knew Xigbar was Lucian. I had surface level knowledge of these characters. And I kept developing the story as I went along. So by the time I started making it on YouTube, I was at a loss for where to place Xigbar. Because I didn't want to focus it too much on the romance. Because I feel like the Power Ranger storyline was hitting more for me and everybody else. And I just decided to pivot to that instead of making this into some type of novella. However, episode 1 is still canon. If you go back and watch it, you'll still see that all that happened. So something has to come from that too. So yeah, all the stuff in episode 1, yeah, it's going to continue on. And now, like, so nobody knows exactly what Xigbar is doing, but Xigbar. And Littlefinger is not happy about being thrown under the bus. Because the thing about Littlefinger is, given a second chance at life and restored valor and memories of a previous life where things were different, but people were vaguely the same, he's not going to want to be on no demon time. Because the one thing Littlefinger wanted in life was power. He wanted to be important. He wanted to be, and he wanted close proximity to power. He has that. He's literally the left hand of Rogexiel. He saved he's Westeros' reluctant savior, and most of the royal houses reluctantly forgive this nigga. And even if they don't forgive this nigga, he's the first motherfucker that they call him as soon as some galactic bullshit hits their door. They're like, where the fuck is Lord Baelish? As soon as some shit hits the door, it's his fault. Even more so than Varys, because Varys actually did something incredibly smart when Rogexiel took over the 7 Kingdoms. He decided not to show up like that. When they all showed up, floating in the sky, looking all powerful, Varys decided to stand amongst the common folk. The reason why Varys did that is because he didn't want people to think he was a god, thinking he was in charge, or none of that. Varys wanted to keep his secretism. Because Varys honestly felt like he was stupid after he told Jon Snow about the king stuff and then he got himself killed. And after that, he was like, oh no, I'm not going to ever do that. No, I'm not going to ever do no stuff against my character ever again. I'm going to, like, I'm just going to chill right here. You can float up there with her, Lord Baelish. Watch all the people in Westeros hit you up where all those problems happen. I'm going to be chilling. Don't worry, I'll still help out, but I ain't gonna have a bunch of Lannisters and Starks and Baratheons and Targaryens at my door. No. I want people to forget I even exist. I'm gonna be in close proximity to power too, because I ain't gonna hold you. If this is where we at right now, then I need to be here to make sure the realm is good. But I ain't trying to show off like that. And the sad part is, they're like the Lord's military is more than willing to give Littlefinger the show up, because they know at the end of the day, he thinks this is a gift, but it's low-key a punishment. Because if any bullshit happens, they're going to blame him. So yeah, he gets to use Dexter and Beatrice's resources to give Westeros Wi-Fi and cars and shit like that. But now, everybody's going to think about you. And they're going to think about Rogexiel too. They're going to come to her, but she's a goddess. She can even choose to either show up or not. With Littlefinger, like, even though he's technically a god because he's the Dark One, I'll get to that too. Because I needed to give Littlefinger some powers to make him equal to everybody else there. So I just gave him the Once Upon a Time dagger. And I just figured a dagger and a Dark One power suits his personality well, due to the fact that the Dark One is one that's just tormented by, like, just darkness and shit like that. And Littlefinger and Rumpelstiltskin are the same nigga, just in different freaking stories. And I put Rumpelstiltskin in episode 1. And I was watching and I remember that he was there. And I was like, shit, I have him there. And the storybook characters, like, you see Emma when they're talking about the first lights and stuff like that. But I don't think I'm going to do much with the Once Upon a Time characters. I had plans with Peter Pan and Felix and them from the Lost Boys. I was going to team them up with Ed and Eddie and make Ed and Eddie Lost Boys. I might still do that. I don't know. But like, Once Upon a Time, I like that, but it's just more or less, Kingdom Hearts is right there. And it's just, if I got, who do I rather use? Which story would I rather talk about? Once Upon a Time or Kingdom Hearts? Who has cooler protagonists? Sora or Emma? Riku or Henry? I'm sorry. Nah. Not saying that Once Upon a Time is trash. I love Once Upon a Time, but I love Once Upon a Time because of Regina, Rumpelstiltskin, and Captain Hook, and Selena, and Peter Pan. Villains. Which is why I love most of the shit that I like. Villains. If you notice, villains. That's my shit right there. I love the bad guys. Bro, my first favorite character was a bad guy. His name was Tommy Oliver, the evil Green Ranger. And then he became good. And then Power Rangers gave me some delectable villains over there. It's like Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed, freaking Divatox, and Astronomer, and Trakina, and Ecliptor, Darkonda, the Psycho Rangers, Rancic, Mesogog, and Vexic and Lothor, and Chubo Zergane. Freaking, nah, bro. Power Rangers gave me delectable villains. Super Sentai, delectable. Ikage, Madoka, Zed, Void Queen, freaking Baron Nero, Schwartz, the Dragon Dude from the crossover movie with Saber and Zenkaiger, the one that played the King of Spades in Borderlands, and I'm planning on putting him somewhere there too, because maybe not, I don't know if I'm gonna put King of Spades, but that dragon transformation, it might either be a monster or something for the Targaryens. But I just remembered that monster, yeah. But nah, Sentai gave me Kamen Rider. Just the entire Zodiacs, all of them, Virgos. Who I made Athena, Gemini, who I gotta touch base on. I put him in the latest episode. He's transforming, he's using his transformation powers. And freaking Aquarius and Leo, Sagittarius. I don't know if I'm putting Gamo in there or what I'm even doing with the Sagittarius Zodiacs, but I have Eredrone, and Eredrone's design is just cooler. Not to say the Sagittarius design ain't clean, but it is. That's how I feel about Scorpion from Q Ranger and the Scorpion design from Kamen Rider. I just like the Q Ranger one more. It looks like that Velociraptor from Power Rangers. But yeah, freaking electable villains in Game of Thrones. Oh my goodness, they gave me the whole catalog. They gave me entire families of evil characters. Freaking the Lannisters, Tywin Lannister. Oh my goodness. Tywin Lannister is one of my favorite characters of all time. Him, Littlefinger, and Cersei. Those three. They gave me the entire Hightower family, all of them, bro. In this universe, it's a little bit different because take away the House of the Dragons, Fight for the Throne nonsense, and they could all just be regular fucking people. Especially in the universe with Wi-Fi and shit. But nah, son. They gave me some delectable ass villains. The Hightowers, the Boltons, they skin people alive. Ramsay dismembers. And Roose Bolton with his clean voice. And I thank Roose Bolton because you're the reason I don't drink. Because you said, I don't drink, it dulls the senses. And I live by those words ever since. Thank you, Roose. So yeah, son. Nah, I like the heroes too, but I'm sorry. I'm a villain fanatic, guys. And I'm obsessed. I like Power Rangers and Kingdom Hearts, but I'm best described as a man obsessed with his own lore. Like, I love Power Rangers Altered Universe. I'm going to continue to make videos about this. And I think I explained enough. I'm probably going to make an even longer discussion video because I have a lot more shit to say, actually. And this video is getting long as it is, so expect a part 2 of this. Anyway, may the power protect you. Vala Dom Gulas, Vala Dahirus, may your heart be your guiding key. And stay out of trouble.